Welcome from Hannover Fair 2017 here in Hannover, Germany. We are in hall number 8, I believe. Hall number 8, 7. We're hall number 7. And we are, as you can see right here in the background, even though we are past 6 p.m. and the fair is starting to close, things are still quite busy here. We're at the Microsoft booth, actually. Looking down here, you can also see the Bosch booth in the background. And this is actually one of the busiest halls here. Julian, we've had a fantastic 2 days.
Yes.
And we want to share some of the things that we learned over the last 2 days with you and the audience. Maybe to make things a little bit more easy, we'll share things in 3 categories. The most impressive thing we saw, the most disappointing thing we saw, and the most insightful things we found out during this time. So, Julian, let me ask you, what did you think was the most impressive thing here at Hannover Fair, even though I know this is so big, you didn't see it all?
Okay, so one of the most impressive things I saw here is actually the booth we're located right at. The Microsoft booth and all the partners are showcasing really nice use cases. For example, Innovators is here, or OSI Soft is here. And our friends, Sunato, the HoloLens developers, are here as well. And who else?
There's plenty. So, I mean, we had that discussion earlier, and
yes, so many. And
the ecosystem is growing like crazy right now, the Microsoft ecosystem.
And one thing that stood out was, for me, the DMG Mori machine tool maker, connecting their machine tools to the Azure cloud. To run analytics based on special tools regarding the vibration for certain settings or the data flow between different companies through the Azure cloud. That was really impressive.
I personally like the OSI Soft beer manufacturing example, where they showcased OSI Soft Pi system, which is sort of, they did some data analysis. They helped one of the large breweries in North America basically optimize the fermentation process by making specific data analysis that calculate the optimal point at what point you go to the next process steps, and thereby, I guess, helping that company not to invest in very expensive sensors, but rather work with analytics. So for me, the most impressive thing has actually been generally how big Industry 4.0 and IoT as a topic have grown at Hannover Fair. I was here 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Industry 4.0 was a small booth in a hall, and now you're running hall 6, 7, 8, 9, and even in the other halls, it's all about this topic. And these are the most visited halls as well. So that to me has been phenomenal. Let's talk about the thing that maybe didn't go so well. I personally, what was the most disappointing to you?
So we've been working on the topic of predictive maintenance. Recently, we published a report on it, and there's a specific hall dedicated to predictive maintenance. And it was a little bit disappointing to see that there's not too much interest from the visitors, and it's rather small.
It was empty, yeah.
It was. So to me, that was quite disappointing. Yeah.
Even though
we spoke to them.
Yeah. Okay. So
and for example, Casantec, we know the company. They said that customers with very specific questions and very detailed questions.
Yeah.
So that's, on the one hand, that's a good sign. People know what they're looking for, but the interest is not as big as we thought.
The main public interest doesn't seem to be on that topic as much as some of the other things we're seeing. Yeah, I mean, I would share that with you. I had the same feeling. So on the disappointment, let's go to most insightful. What was for you was the most insightful thing you saw here?
So generally speaking, again, robotics and additive manufacturing is huge here as well. And
anything in particular?
And yes, in additive manufacturing, the metal powder sintering processes seem to be taking off. And one interesting detail, when I spoke to a researcher, he said that additive manufacturing is a new item in the toolbox of the manufacturing processes.
So it doesn't replace the whole thing. It's
will
just
not substitute anything. It's a new tool.
And that's even, I mean, that's what some people are saying. It's replacing it, but not in the near future, according to the discussions that you had. I mean, the most insightful to me was I had a discussion with a provider of a manufacturing execution system, and they were talking about their move to the cloud and why the cloud is so important. And from my point of view, I've always heard how more cost efficient, that a cloud is more cost efficient. But he was making the point that for him, that doesn't count at all. For him, the point is the cloud has a different service architecture that allows them to do to call different services, which in a traditional architecture, you have clear point-to-point connection. And all of a sudden now you have these services in the cloud that you call and everyone else can call it. So he envisions the future of the MES system that anyone who needs that specific module of manufacturing execution can call within the cloud their service rather than them connecting with SAP, with other things in there. So I thought that was a very, he basically said, it's not a one-to-one relationship, but it's a one-to-N relationship in regards to what is happening with calling different services. That I found insightful because I hadn't heard it from that point of view. I've always heard cloud is cheaper and better processing power and those kind of things. Yeah, I mean, to wrap it up, I mean, maybe on the agenda of other things we saw. I don't know if you have anything else, but the other thing that I saw, GE had that announcement with Schindler. Schindler lifts. And so what we've been covering recently is that Microsoft and ThyssenKrupp have sort of gone ahead and changed in the elevator industry that service model of predictive maintenance in elevators. And now we saw Kone, and now Schindler is the third big one in there, is going with GE. And you see sort of they're all working with big technology firms, and so Schindler has a big booth here actually. And GE in general seems to be doing some good things as well. I had a chat with a guy who's in data analytics, and he was saying he was very impressed by the machine learning algorithms they developed to match different kinds of databases. So they have developed some algorithms that help automatically identify what data fits to what other data when you have different data sets. So take the example, one column is called date and it has the date and time information. The other column is called time in another database, but it's exactly the same thing. Because one is called differently than the other, you would normally not be able to match them. But because the machine learning algorithms realize it's exactly the same thing, it's a date format in both, they should correspond. So you match those data things using smart machine learning techniques. And he said that was very impressive. And I kind of like that case as well. Okay. And anything else that springs to your mind?
Not anything in particular.
No.
I mean, the exhibition fair is huge. A lot of interesting things to see.
I mean, we could have spent, we were here for 2 days. Yeah. We could have easily spent the whole week here and not to see everything. I mean, it is probably one of the reference fairs for industrial technology, and it's through IoT and Industrie 4.0, it is probably becoming, and maybe a few other things as well, bigger and bigger and bigger. And it seems everyone, both from the technology vendor as well as the user sides, are here, and that makes it so compelling. So tune for the next conferences coming up. We have a couple in June. And if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out by email or through our social channels. We are extremely busy at these fairs and working on other research, but we're happy to be in touch with you and understand what kind of research questions you guys have that we might be able to help you with. Thank you.